It was a quiet Monday evening, just shy of 7:30. I'd been buried in a demanding project in my home office, surrounded by unfinished work that refused to let go of me. Eventually, I decided to step away and call it a night. I made my way to the kitchen, its soft lighting casting a calm glow. From the fridge, I grabbed a cold bottle of my favorite IPA and took a slow sip, letting the bitterness settle on my tongue. My eyes drifted toward the window, and that's when I saw her, Joy, curled up on the outdoor couch near the fire pit, phone pressed to her ear, laughter dancing on her lips. Her legs were tucked beneath her, and I noticed the way she twirled a strand of her blonde hair around her fingers, an old, familiar habit. That small, unconscious gesture was etched into my memory, something I'd come to associate with late-night calls during my business trips, when I'd picture her doing exactly that, even from miles away. Back then, the image brought comfort. Tonight, it stirred something far more complicated. She looked radiant, glowing even as the evening settled in around her. I couldn't see her eyes from where I stood, but I was certain they sparkled the same way they always did when she was truly happy. I thought about stepping outside, saying something, joining her, but I didn't. Something held me back. As I watched, a subtle shift crept over me. Her animated tone, the warmth in her smile, it all felt too intimate. It didn't feel like a casual work call or a catch-up with a friend. It felt like something more. I stood there, unmoving, for 45 long minutes, feeling more like a bystander in her world than a partner in it. When she finally ended the call, the smile that lingered on her face stung like betrayal. I walked away quietly and sank into the couch in the family room, flipping on the TV, pretending the baseball game held my attention. A short while later, Joy came in. "How long have you been done with work?" she asked. "A while," I said, keeping my voice neutral. "Why didn't you come out back?" "You were on a call." "Didn't want to interrupt." She waved off the explanation with ease. "Oh, that was just Steve. We were discussing the Phillips account." I nodded and turned back toward the screen. I could feel her watching me, trying to read the silence. After a moment, she walked into the kitchen and returned with a glass of wine, taking her place beside me. "What's the score?" she asked. "No idea," I replied. She chuckled. "Do you even know who the Sox are playing?" "The Blue Jays," I answered without looking at her. We sat in wordless detachment through the next few plays until a commercial break gave her reason to try again. "Let's have the kids over this Saturday. Maybe do a barbecue." "Sure," I said, without emotion. She kept trying to engage, but my clipped responses left little room for warmth. Finally, she asked, "Chris, what's going on?" "Nothing." "That's not true. You're distant." "Do you want to talk about it?" No, my answer was firm. The quiet between us thickened. Then, as if trying to reset the mood, she stood, peeled off her blue V-neck tee, and gave me a flirtatious smile. "Why don't you turn off the TV and come upstairs? I've got a better way to help you unwind." "Not tonight," I said flatly. Her smile didn't waver at first. "Come on, big guy. Mama needs some attention." I looked her dead in the eye. "What part of not in the mood don't you get?" Her face fell. "What's wrong with you?" "I was just trying to be kind." I snapped. "You turn me down at least twice a week. The one time I say no, and suddenly I'm the bad guy? Grow up, Joy. Just leave me alone." She stared at me, expression like stone, then stormed out without a word. For the first time in our marriage, I found myself sleeping in the guest room, though I didn't really sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. By 3 a.m., I gave up on rest. I took a shower in the kids' old bathroom, got dressed quietly, and tiptoed into our bedroom to grab a few clothes without waking her. Before heading to work, I installed tracking apps on both her phones, personal and work, and synced them to my own devices. I arrived at the office with a pounding headache and way too much caffeine in my system, but somehow still pushed through the day. I had to finish prepping for a critical 2-day business trip that started early the next morning. Tuesday night was colder than usual, not in temperature, but in tone. We barely spoke, and even the illusion of closeness had vanished. By Wednesday morning, I was en route to the airport for a 7:20 a.m. flight. The meetings went well, and by midday, I'd made promising headway with the client. Still, every few hours, I found myself checking her location over and over again. Although her location rarely changed either home or at the office, that unsettling feeling never left me. That evening, while eating alone at the Marriott Lounge, I glanced at the tracker once more. At exactly 7:30 p.m., it showed her phone at an address in a high-end neighborhood, far from our side of town. My chest tightened. It was her boss's residence. The doubts I had wrestled with quietly solidified into certainty. The months that followed blurred past, steeped in tension. I maintained civility, but emotionally, I had already withdrawn. Joy, to her credit, made visible efforts to reconnect, cooking more, initiating conversations, attempting closeness. But when intimacy happened, it felt hollow, rehearsed, like a ritual we both knew had lost its meaning. Her movements during my business trips confirmed what I feared. Hidden cameras I had installed discreetly around the property captured her leaving with a packed bag, always when I was away, and returning before I got back. Each time, the destination was the same, Steve's house. Under legal counsel, I enlisted a private investigator. It didn't take long for him to return with hard proof. Photographs. Time-stamped. In Steve's backyard. The two of them together in ways that left no room for explanation or denial. The casual boldness of it all, how reckless they were in broad daylight, was staggering. With the evidence now irrefutable, I began preparing for the inevitable. That Thursday evening, I made 3 of the most painful phone calls of my life, one to each of our adult children. Telling them I was divorcing their mother left my voice shaking. I broke down more than once. When they questioned me, I asked a simple but loaded question: do you want to see the proof? None of them answered. None of them had to. By the next morning, everything was in motion. Nearly 30 years of marriage, built on shared dreams, laughter, and sacrifice, had come to a bitter, undeniable end. I started making my final calls. Joy answered after 4 rings. "Hey, sweetheart," she greeted warmly. "This is a nice surprise. How's the trip going?" "Hey, love. Meetings are the usual grind," I replied casually. "How's your week been?" "I'm just relieved it's Friday," she said, a light tease in her voice. "Counting down the minutes until you're home. It's been such a lonely week. I hope we can make up for it this weekend." Her tone was soft, affectionate, almost perfect. But something was off. Lately, I'd come to notice how she subtly avoided talking about work whenever Steve was involved. She went on, "So, what made you call all of a sudden?" "I have a question," I said carefully. "It may seem odd, but I'd really like a straight answer." "Okay, now you've got my attention." "What is it?" "Do you like my smile?" She laughed gently. "Your smile? What kind of question is that?" "Of course I do. I've always loved it." "You've told me that before," I said. "It was the first thing you said to me, remember? That night at the frat party, you walked over and told me, 'You've got a great smile.' Left your friends standing in the dust." There was a pause. Her voice changed. "Chris, what's this about? You're kind of scaring me." I tried to sound steady. Even when things got hard, I always tried to focus on what we had. Raising our kids together. Building a life. That's what kept me going. "I know," she whispered. "You're the strongest man I've ever known. That's what I love most about you, your hope, your kindness. Your smile." Tears stung my eyes. Her love for me still sounded real. But the betrayal behind those words made it unbearable. Her voice grew more urgent. "Chris, please. Tell me what's going on. I don't think I know how to smile anymore, I said quietly. The silence that followed was crushing. Chris, you're really worrying me. Please just tell me what this is about. It's too late, Joy. We can't fix this. Don't say that. We can work through anything if we try, please don't give up on us. I shook my head slowly, though she couldn't see. A real relationship needs trust, respect, and love. I know you love me. And I still love you too. But I can't trust you anymore. And you've stopped respecting me. Without those, there's nothing left to build on. She tried to speak, but I cut in. There's no more respect, Joy. None. Now, go to the front window. What? Chris, what are you? Get out of Steve's chair, walk through his kitchen, and look outside. Silence. Then a muffled scream cut through the phone. Oh my God. He knows. Chris knows. From where I sat in the U-Haul truck across the street, I could see her clearly now, standing frozen next to Steve Davis, her lover, her boss, inside the house that had hosted every betrayal. The afternoon sun made it hard to see the details, but their silhouettes told me everything I needed to know. I reversed the truck, pulling into their circular driveway. With a hard brake, I swung the back doors open. Boxes tumbled out, crashing onto the pavement, one shattering with a distinct, painful sound. I knew exactly what had broken. It was part of her great-grandmother's china set. Joy came outside wearing the bikini I had gifted her for our anniversary, one she'd apparently reserved for another man. Steve followed, clumsily wrapped in a robe. They didn't notice the parked car until a woman stepped out. She approached calmly and handed each of them a yellow envelope. Joy Harrington, you've been served, she said, snapping a photo. Then she turned. Stephen Davis, you and your firm, Smith, Davis, and Lewis, have also been served. Another photo. And then she was gone. No one moved. So I spoke, my voice cutting across the yard. I deserve better than a liar and a cheat. Joy didn't say a word. Her silence was confirmation enough. I turned to Steve. Call my lawyer. Make a generous offer, or I will destroy your reputation and your firm. Then I looked back at Joy. Sign the papers. We're finished. Without waiting for a response, I climbed back into the U-Haul, started the engine, and drove away, leaving behind the ruins of a life that once meant everything to me.